Hello, hello, welcome. Welcome to Thursday Night Live, my first Thursday Night Live for the year for Cricket for Australians. So great to be here. Sorry I couldn't make it the other day when I was unwell. And thank you all for your well wishes. Great to see lots of people jumping on. Joe, thank you for your well wishes in regards to the heat. Are you in Melbourne too? It's so hot today. But thankfully I've got the aircon going and I'm nice and cool. So yeah, I'm feeling really, really good tonight. Super, super excited to be here. If you don't know who I am, my name's Paul and I share all my Cricut knowledge and expertise so that you can master these incredible machines and products. And ultimately, I want you to make beautiful things. And every Thursday at 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, myself or Nat, the other admin for Cricket for Australians on Facebook, we go live and we just make a project and share, again, our knowledge and expertise with you. And it's completely interactive. You can ask us lots of questions. So that's awesome. Also, if you like this content, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any content. And welcome. Thanks for being here. So let's just jump in and have a quick look at some of the comments and then we'll get started. Jenny's in Melbourne. Are you keeping cool, Jenny? I hope you are. Super, super hot today, but it's really nice to see some warm weather because we've been typical Melbourne. We're up and down, right? 1 minute it's hot, next minute it's cold. Can't make up its mind. Janine, it's great to have you here. Thanks so much. Glad you can make it. If you are new, type new in the comments as well so I can get to meet you and we can also say hello. If you've got any questions as well, make sure you type them in caps, so all uppercase, so that it's easy for me to find those comments and make sure that I'm answering your questions during our live. So let's get started. I'm just going to go to the overhead camera. And so what we're doing today is, we've all, hopefully you're very familiar with vinyl in terms of, the plain or holographic, all the different types of vinyl, but the vinyl that we cut and obviously we can adhere to our items. Now, this is back to school. So, of course, water bottles, lunch boxes, all of that's back to school. But today, I'm not focusing on the the typical sort of vinyl products. If you're interested in those projects and how to do that, by all means, you can have a look at the playlists on my YouTube channel for vinyl projects, and that will step you through it. What I wanted to focus on today was more around print then cut. And what that means is we are going to print onto vinyl using our printer at home, and then we're going to use our Cricut to actually cut our designs. Now, so we're creating stickers, basically. So I just want to show you the process, a couple of different ways that you can create these, and some of the pitfalls that we see. And again, if you've got any questions or if you've had any trouble or any troubleshooting that you require, let me know in the comments and I'll definitely try to answer those questions for you. But what I've got here in front of me is a couple of things. First of all, I have my pen. Now, this is just one of my Cricut pens, and I have this out to remind me to tell you actually, I'll go to the double so you can see both, to remind you that it's not just like a print then cut that you can do with your stickers, with your Cricut. You can also incorporate pen as well. So you can print out a sticker, write on it with a pen, with the Cricut, of course, and then the Cricut will also cut your design. Now, why that's really important is because the other product that I've got out here is my Cricut foil transfer tool. Now, if you are watching the replay, I will link up here with the cards a link to the project that I did, print then cut stickers with some of the foil designs incorporated as well. So don't forget that if you want that beautiful, shimmery, metallic kind of finish, and you've got words or maybe just a really cool design, then make sure you check out that video, and that will step you through that process as well. So again, not just your plain print out stickers and cut, but you can incorporate some of these other mediums as well. Of course, we need our printable vinyl. Now today, I'm using the Cricut printable vinyl that I picked up from Spotlight. There is a link in the description. The reason that I like this vinyl is it's really, really thin. So Cricut do a sticker paper as well, but this is really, really beautiful and thin, and I love it for stickers. And also the reason that I like it is that it is the American letter size. Now, as you know, or if you've done Print Then Cut before, you're probably aware that the software is designed for American letter, so 8.5 by 11 inches. And sometimes, obviously you want to do it on an A4 or something like that. But of course, that's you can still use A4 size materials, but you're not going to get the full scope of the size of that medium. So American letter works best. And again, you can pick this up from Spotlight. It is on sale at the moment, down from $27.95, I think, to $19.95. Anyway, there is a link in the description to Spotlight. The one thing that I do, and I have done with this, hopefully it's worked today, is when this, I find when it's on the shelves or when it's being shipped, it often is a little bit curled. Hopefully you can see that. So what I've done is I've put this under a really heavy box or put it under some books and try and flatten it out as much as you can, because when it comes to print, which I'll do off camera, but when it comes to printing, the flatter your material, the more likely it's just going to go through beautifully and, without getting caught up or anything like that. Now, the last time I did a live with Print Then Cut, it did get caught up, and sometimes it does happen, but 9 times out of 10 when I'm doing it, it goes through flawlessly. And the biggest tip that I can give you is, I say, put something heavy on it, get it super, super, super flat, and that is definitely going to help it go through your printer when it comes to that. So I'm just going to quickly jump in again to the questions. I can see a few coming through. Hi to everyone who's joining. Hey, Belinda, welcome. You're new. Let us know where you're from. Janine's asking, what printer do you recommend? So again, I have a printer that I use. It's in the description below. There's a link to the Epson website. It's an Epson WF 7725, which is a workforce printer. Now, this is a big printer. So big as in it takes up a lot of real estate, and it's also, it can print, it can print really big as well, definitely bigger than 12-inch wide or 30 centimeters wide. I only use it for Print Then Cut, okay? If I was looking for a printer that I wanted to do more, like it is an everyday printer, because I have a laser printer for every day, and I only use the inkjet for my printables for iron-on or for vinyl for these projects. If I wanted a printer for more everyday use, then I would recommend looking at an Eco Tank. So if you search printer in Cricut for Australians, you will find lots of posts that talk about lots of different printers. But the one that I have is the Workforce WF7725. So by all means, check that out in the description below as well. Okie doke, let's jump into Design Space. Now, I've left it on opening up on my projects because I wanted to show you, if you didn't know already, now in the desktop version, top right, the little search box that's been sitting there for forever, it actually now works. So if I search labels, then I can see the labels that I did last year for my son's schoolwork, and I can see all the different other projects that I've done for, coffee canisters, all that type of thing as well. So I just wanted to give you a reminder, if you didn't know that was there, that's in the latest update, which you should have now. If you haven't got it, then just wait for 6.2.100, I think. That's what I've got. But yeah, if you've got that one, then you'll definitely be able to search. So that's really, really cool. But let's go to a new project. Now, every year, for my son, I do 2 types of labels. So I do labels for the books, which is this book belongs to, and I do a really narrow, long, skinny label for, pencils and textures and rulers and protractors and all of those weird and wonderful things that find their way into either their school bag or into their pencil case, things like that. But of course, you can use these techniques to use for whatever you like. My son's 11 now. But something that I think would be really, really cute. I don't think he would appreciate it so much now. Maybe he would, maybe I should try. But like if you wanted to, wrap up the sandwiches and put a little sticker in there saying, love you, be the best you that you can be kind, all of those wonderful sort of messages and mantras and that type of thing, that might be another nice fun project that you might like to create as well. But let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Images. And in Images, I'm going to search school. And I just wanted to show you, of course, there are a lot of images for school. There's over 2,500 of them. But if I go into Operation Type on the left-hand side, I can choose to filter these even further. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose to filter by Print Then Cut. So what it means is that these images are flat. They are ready to basically go to the printer and for your Cricut, obviously, to then look at cutting them out. but you can also edit them, and that's what I'm going to show you today, how you can edit this, but then also how you can create your own. So I find it always good. I'm a Cricut Access member, so this is where I start. I look at Cricut Access. Of course, if you don't have Cricut Access, you can use free shapes or you can upload your own images. You do you, right? So let's have a look. Some really cute images. I love these little robots. They're so cute. Here's a little bookworm. We've got a little owl. I really like these, which is this book belongs to image. So I'm going to use that because I think it's not so junior. It's a little bit older, which I think my son will appreciate. But I also I really like this, which are these kind of books with a label area where you can add text. And I want to grab that, but I'm also just going to grab just the books because I want to show you how you can do this yourself as well, because as we can see up here, this one is green, but you might not want to do green, you might want to do blue, and that's my son's favorite color, and that's what I'm going to show you tonight. So I'm going to insert these images. So Suzanne is asking where to find images. The links should be in the description on the YouTube video. They should be there. I added them earlier. If they're not there, let me know and I will definitely add them in later. But let's just move these out of the way. So here we've got one label that's basically ready to go, and I can just add some text. So let's just add some text. First up, I'm going to put this book belongs to ... And I'm going to go up to the top left, and in my fonts, I'm going to search narrow. I just want to use a narrow font, and I'm just going to use Arial narrow because that's really, really simple. I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller there. Okay, and then I'm also going to add some text again, and I'm going to add my son's name and also his class. Okay, and for this font, I want something a little bit different, and I'm just going to go to my Cricut fonts, and there was one that I saw earlier, which was called something weird, where was it? There it is, B-E-L-W-E, Belwy, and I just like this. I thought that was just a nice font, and again, I'm just going to resize that. What I'm going to do as well is I'm going to hold onto the Control, or you can do the Command key, and I'm going to choose my other text, go up to align, and I'm going to align, undo that. So clicking on both lots of text by holding down the Command or Control key, and then align horizontally, and that just centers those pieces of text, and then I can just move them together around in my little label, and I can go, yep, I'm happy with that. But I'm going to make this text white. Okay, and I'll make that white. And then, yeah, I'm really happy. Hopefully you can see that. The white's probably a little bit tricky to see. I might actually change it to maybe a gray, so that it's probably a little bit easier for you to see on camera. But now that I've done that, that's looking really good. I can select all. I can go down to the bottom right, and I can click flatten. And then what I can see up here on the right-hand side in the layers panel is now I've got one layer which says cut print. So it's going to print it out, and then it's going to cut. Okay, so I know that I've successfully created that label. So I'm just going to move this to the side, and I'm going to show you how you could use this image of just the books, and you could create your own little background in any color you like. So I'm just going to grab a shape, which is a square, and I'm going to unlock the dimensions, and then I'm just going to sort of eyeball this around there. I'm going to right click, and I'm going to send it to back, and then I'm going to go up to the top to line type where it's got cut. I'm going to change color, and my son's favorite color is blue, so I'm going to select a blue color, and then once again I can add some text. So this book, actually, sorry, I'll do it back to front since that's the same one as before. Leighton 5K. All right, so there's the 5K bit. Make it a little bit smaller, and then add in this book belongs to ... and I'm going to change that one to the narrow, the Arial narrow, and move that up here. And again, I'm just going to hold down the Control key, select both, align horizontally, just so that they look nicely, they're nicely positioned on that image. And then I'm going to change this one again to white, and that stands out a little bit more against the blue. But you can see how these are starting to take shape, and of course, you can create any combination that you like. Now, something that we see quite often on the page is people will say it's printing out, but it's also cutting. Why is it cutting around the words? I literally just want it to cut around my sticker or whatever I've created. Now, the reason being is sometimes people will go, okay, I've got my text here selected, and I go, oh, I've got to flatten it. So I'll flatten it, and then they'll go, oh, I want to keep that where it is positioned, so I'll attach it. And all that means is that it's literally going to just hold it in place, but it's still going to cut that text out. What you need to make sure that you're doing, I'm just going to unselect it all, is select everything. And you can see on the layers panel, I've got 1, 2, 3 layers selected, and then I flatten. And then now it's only one layer. And that's how I know it's only going to print once and then cut once around the perimeter of that image. So I'm just going to quickly check some of the comments. Sharon's asking about, can you do multiple copies at once? Absolutely. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that. Eloise, great question. Can the Cricut Joy do print then cut? Not like this. Now, there are hacks online where you can hack the Cricut Joy to be able to do a print then cut with other software. So you can look at that, search that on YouTube. But really, Cricut Maker or Cricut Explore Air is what we're looking at today, and certainly what's going to be easiest for you to achieve these types of results. And Eloise, yes, you can absolutely watch this on the replay. Once I finish, it will be there for you to watch. All good. Okay, so that's a couple of stickers there that we've created. I'm just going to make them a little bit smaller. Oh, sorry, I didn't. I'm going to send this to back, making sure I'm selecting everything here and flatten. All right. So that's that one. There's one sticker over there. And then we've got this one here. So this book belongs to, and I'll make it a little bit bigger just so we can see. And all I need to do here is add some text. So I'm going to add my son's name and his class, making sure I'm getting the right one. And again, I will change the font to the same one. Okay, and then I'm going to make it smaller. And I'm going to duplicate this because we've got two labels in one in this design. So I'm just going to move these around to where I feel like they're nicely positioned. Now, so that both labels are identical and that the latent 5K is absolutely lined up on both labels, I'm going to hold Control and then, or Command, and select the other name, go up to Align and Align Top. And now they're just beautifully aligned. They're going to look identical when these print out. So then again, what I need to do is I need to flatten. So I'm selecting all and then going down to the bottom right, and then I click flatten, and then that is how they're going to print. So I'm going to make these a little bit smaller. So around about 2.5 inches for each of them. Likewise for these ones, maybe might make these a little bit wider, maybe 3 inches. 3 inches there. Okay, so there's a couple of options there. And now I'm going to show you another version. So this is what I typically do when I do my long. So they're for books. And again, you can make them bigger. I mean, probably need to be a little bit bigger because they are going on textbooks. So I'll probably go at least 3 inches for those ones. I'm just looking at my ruler here. Yep, that's what I'd be pretty happy with. But now I'm going to make something that's going to go on the pens, the rulers, the erasers, all of these little items, the glue sticks, things like that. So again, I'm going to go to images and I'm going to search for label. But also I'm going to uncheck my print then cut. Okay, so it doesn't need to be a print then cut image now. It can be just a cut image because I'm now going to create basically my own sticker from scratch. So I just find it's easier to grab these labels, but again, you could use free shapes or you could upload shapes yourself. But I just find it easier to go onto Cricut Access and just grab something as my base. So here it is here. I'm going to make it really big, just so again, you can see it. Obviously, I'm not going to print it this big, but just so you can see exactly what I'm doing. Again, I'm going to add some text. So we're going to do Leighton, and we'll do 5K. Okay, so there's some text. His favorite color, as I mentioned earlier, is blue. So I'm actually going to change this to be a blue color. I'm also going to change my background to be white. All right. And what I always do is I like to put a little icon in there. So if your child is into sports, if they're into music, if they're into drama, if they are into making or DIY craft, things like that, this is where you can really customize these labels to be super, super personal for the person that you're creating them for. Now, my son, as I am, is Star Wars mad. So I'm actually going to go and search for images. And I'm actually going to search Star Wars. Now, this is Star Wars images that I purchased in a digital mystery box years ago. So don't hate me that I have these really, really cool images that I've used many, many times. But my son's pretty obsessed with The Mandalorian at the moment. So we're going to use this one, which I think is Boba Fett. So we're going to insert that. And then what I'm going to do is, again, because there's favorite colors, I can customize this. Now, this, as you can see on the right-hand side, this is a multi-layer image. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 cuts. So I've cut this out of cardstock before. I've also done some of these designs in infusible ink, but you could do this in iron-on, that sort of thing. That's what it's designed for, but I'm going to make it a sticker. But before I flatten it and make it basically non-dimensional and no more layers, just one layer, I'm going to change some of these colors so that I can make it more what my son would appreciate. So, for example, that orange layer around the very outside, I'm going to change to the same blue that I've used earlier. And then this other layer that's orange, I'm going to change that to green because he likes green as well. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to make this smaller. I'm going to position this so it's going to go here in front of his name. So I just want to make sure I'm happy with the placement. I'm happy with where the name is placed. And now I'm going to, I'm actually going to select all and I'm going to align vertically just to make sure everything's beautifully centered right in the middle there. And while I have it all selected, I'm also going to flatten. Now, before I do, pay attention to the right-hand side. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 layers. So I'm going to flatten and then boom. Now I've got one layer. Now the outside has disappeared because it's white and it's not going to print white. It's purely going to cut. So that's perfectly normal. Don't panic. If I'd made the background gray or blue or pink or another color, you would be able to see that outline. And then I'm going to resize it accordingly, which I'm going to do about 2.5 inches for these. All right, is about the perfect size to fit on a pencil and a pen and things like that. So here we go. These are our stickers ready to go. So we've taken a sticker and we've added to it. We've taken print then cut image and we've used shapes and we've added text and we've created another sticker that way. And then we've gone from scratch. We've taken a label, we've added some text, and we've taken a cut image and we've also changed the colors of that and we've flattened it in order to make a sticker as well. So I'm just going to jump into the comments and then we'll get printing. So let's have a wee looky-loo. I've done something wrong. I apologise. Lee's asking, do you print these on label paper or plain adhesive paper? So I'm using Printable, of course. Did I save my work? No, I did not. So I just need to quickly... I'm just going to quickly mock up some stickers because I don't want you having to sit through all of that again. So I'm literally just going to do something very quickly. Just go to my projects. Yep. And I'm just going to grab one of the school images. And operation type again, print then cut, and I'm going to grab this one. And then while I'm in here also, I'm going to grab my Star Wars. This is why you should actually save your work as you go through. So let me know that you can hear me. I've obviously just restarted this, I think. I've never done this before. I apologize. I've literally turned everything else in the house off and am just hoping everything stays connected. And I thought better to jump in now and do it because school goes back, right? When are your kids going back? My kids are going back next week. I think he goes back on Thursday. So I'm just going to add some text again. A bit smaller, make this bigger just so we can see it. Excellent, thanks for letting me know you can hear me. So I'm just quickly mocking these back up. I'm trying to add some text. It's not working. It's always the way. Text shape. Let's see if I add a square. It's all working correctly. For some reason I can't add my text. Let me just save this. Okay, and we've got this, which we love. We'll resize it. We want text. Why can't I add? Add shape. Okay, I'm just going to try a new window in case that works. Go to my project. All right, yes, text, okay. Layton 5K. And we'll change that font to the Cricut font, which is B-E-W-L-E, B-E-W-L-E, I think, or B-E-L-W-E. Oh, can't spell. Here it is. There we go. I'm going to copy that because we'll bring that up into these ones up here as well. We'll just resize and paste. Thanks for your patience, guys. I'm so sorry about this. Just align those. The top, move them down a wee bit. And we'll select all, and we'll flatten those ones. And then we'll come up here, Layton K, 4K, and again we're going to go for a nice blue color. We're going to select all of this and align vertically so it's nice and centered. Maybe just move that out a little bit so it's a bit more balanced, and move this in as well. So again, a bit more balance. Brilliant. And then we'll select all. I'll actually change the background to white. All right, and then we'll flatten that. Brilliant. And now we'll just resize these. So I want these ones to be about 3 inches, and this one I'm going to make about 2.5 inches wide. Brilliant. Okay, so there are our stickers. We're back up and running. So again, thank you so much for your patience. And what we're going to do is now you can, of course, and I see this on the page a lot, is we go, okay, well, here's my label. I'm going to use Control-C or Command-C to copy, and then I'm just going to paste, 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 and I'm going to have 10 of these labels, and I'm going to print them all accordingly. But there's an easier way. So I'm just going to undo that. Okay, and we're going to click Make It. And in the Make It screen, you can actually say how many copies of these images that you want. So if I start bumping this up to 3, you can start to see that it's actually going over a page. So for tonight's demo, I'm just going to do 2 of each. And in fact, I might actually change this and make this a little bit smaller, again, just for demonstration purposes. Make it. Let's see if we can get a few more copies here. Okay, so it looks like I can get 3 of each. So again, for demonstration purposes, I'm just going to do 3 of each. Of course, you could do a whole page of one. Those long, narrow ones, after tonight, I will actually print out a whole page of those because, again, they'll go on pencils and pens and rulers and everything. And I'll do some more of this Books Belongs To as well, but I might actually reprint and do some of those other ones. So let's get started. I'm going to open up my printable vinyl, so the Cricut printable vinyl, and I'm going to take out a sheet, so I'm ready to go with that. All right, so there is a grey side, don't print on that, okay, you want to print on the matte side. And now I'm going to go into Design Space and I'm going to click Continue. And now it's going to find my maker. But while it's doing that, I can see here there's a button around the print thing cup that says Send to Printer. So I'm going to click Send to Printer, and then I get the option of choosing the printer that I'm going to use. So here is my Epson WF. It says 7720 series. It's a 7725. Again, link in the description. I'm going to add the bleed. So what the bleed means now, it's not really going to make a difference to these ones because they're pretty much white on the outside. But if they were colored images, what the bleed does is it just extends the color slightly outside the lines so that if the print is cut is slightly off, it's not going to make a difference because it's got that color that just bleeds into a little bit sort of outside the lines again. So always recommend using the bleed function. And what I also recommend is using system dialog. Now, when you click this initially, what you'll see is I'll click print, and typically nothing happens, okay? The circle just spins around. You're like, hang on a minute, what's going on? If I move this window out of the way, what you'll find is here is this little dialog box has appeared. Now, I don't know if you can actually see it. Let me just see if I can get out of that. I want to see if I can share this with you. Okay, let me just try and make it. If I move this out of the way, can you see this? Okay, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to see it. You're just going to have to trust me, but there is actually, when I move this out of the way, there's a whole box where I can choose a couple of options. Now, the first thing that I'm going to choose, and when you're buying a printer for these types of projects, whether it's iron-on, whether it's printable vinyl, I would always recommend buy a printer with a rear feed. Okay, now most of these substrates as well are for inkjet printers. Make sure you get one with a rear feed because that means that the substrate is going to go through nice and flat. It's not going to have to go through any rollers and get caught up or bend and all of these weird and wonderful things. So I'm going to choose on this dialog box that you can't see, I'm going to choose rear tray. And then I'm also going to choose media type. It defaults to auto select. What I like to do is I choose photo. And then I've got photo gloss, matte, semi-gloss, all of that. I choose photo, and based on the medium that I'm printing on, I'll choose matte or gloss. Now this is a matte finish, so I'm choosing photo paper matte, and then I'm going to click print. And that just means that I'm going to get a really, really good quality print for what I want. So now I'm just going to have to go over to my printer and just feed this in. So just give me a chance to do this. Minute, because of course with everything switching off, that included my printer. So now I'm just waiting for it to ask for the print job. There it goes. So I'm just going to pop in my printable vinyl in the rear. Okay, so now that is printing. We will get our, oh, I know why this isn't connecting because I don't have my maker switched on. So what we'll do is while that's connecting, we'll get our matte ready. So I'm just using a blue matte. The other thing that I find really, really useful when I'm doing these projects is the Cricut brayer, because it means that you're not having to use your fingers and getting your machine sort of messed up and gunky, or you're not smudging your design or anything with your warm fingers. This is just really good for making sure it's nicely adhered to the mat without having to manhandle it. Yeah. Okay. So it's still printing out, almost done. Okay, and it's printed out nicely. I'm just trying to connect to my machine here. And then we shall get started. All right, so my printout has come out, so just go and grab that. So I'll just show you this. So you can see there's my printout. It's got the black registration mark around the outside, and that's so the Cricut will scan this and it will know exactly where to cut these designs. So that's worked. I'm now connected to my printer. So I'm just going to go back into Design Space, and on the right hand side I'm going to say I've already printed, and then I'm going to choose my substrate. So I'm using printable vinyl, so I'm going to choose printable vinyl, and then it's basically telling me to load it into the machine. So let's go to the overhead and let me show you what I always do when I'm doing a print then cut image. Now, the one thing you want to make your machine do as well, or sometimes your printer may want to, if you're printing on A4, for example, if you're printing on A4, you don't want your printer to automatically increase the size of your print to accommodate for A4. You want to keep it the original size. So that would be one of the first things that I'd suggest doing if you're having some wackadoo cut images where it's printed one size but the cut's completely a different size. Your printer may be increasing the size. All right. The other thing that you want to do is you want to make sure, take the time to really get that design in your top left-hand corner. Now, I know I see sometimes on the page people saying they move it down a little bit, or they do different things, but I just make sure that I get that as close to my top and left sides as I can, those lines on the very top and on the left hand side. And this is where I don't want to use my fingers and smudge this design. I'm going to take my brayer and I'm just going to brayer that on to make sure that the design is nice and stuck down to the mat. Okay. And then I'm going to open up my Maker. And the other thing that I do now, between these two guides here, there's like millimeters of space. It's really, there's not a lot of space at all. Normally I would have it hard up against sort of one side or the other, but there's a teeny tiny little bit of wiggle room. I just try and get it right smack bang in the middle there, and then just a little bit of pressure on my mat, and then using the load button to load it. And then we're going to click the flashing C to get things started. So what the Cricut's going to do now is it's going to turn on the scanning light, and it's going to read those registration marks, and that's going to tell it exactly where to cut. Now, if you are having cut issues, something that you can do is you can calibrate your machine as well. Some people also find that bright lights can sometimes disrupt the reading of the registration marks as well. So turn off some of the lights, maybe closing the lid could help. Now, it's important to note as well that really, glossy is never going to work as good as matte, because glossy can also reflect some of that light back. So it's done the scan and now it's going to do the cutting. Can reflect the light back, and that can sometimes give you a bit of a strange read. And the other thing to remember too is, in regards to the Explore Air machines and the Maker, is that the Explore series of machines, you need to use white paper, okay, or white sticker paper, white vinyl, whereas with the Cricut Maker, you can actually print on coloured paper and cardstock and vinyl and things like that. Okay. The other thing is that whilst I'm printing on printable vinyl, this is printable vinyl. This is not, Cricut permanent or Cricut removable vinyl or any other kind of vinyl. This is specifically designed to be printed on. So bear that in mind as well if you are new. So we'll let that cut out. I'll jump in and have a look at some of the questions while I'm here as well. So Lee, you've got a laser printer now. You can buy sticker paper and printable vinyl for laser printers. The reason that they're typically not recommended is because they use heat to apply the ink, and heat can interrupt or disturb or deteriorate the adhesives that are in these substrates, and that's why inkjets are always preferred for the printable iron-ons and the printable vinyls, okay? But stickers, things like that, you know, it's doable. You can do it. Just search for, make sure when you're buying the product that it can go in a laser machine. So yeah, thanks Peter, jumping in there. Yep, awesome, brilliant. Okay, let's go back to the overhead. I'm just going to eject these, and I'm going to close my Maker, and I'm just going to move that out of the way. Oh, heavy. Okay, so let's grab my weeding tool, and I'm just going to grab a corner here. We'll try to, maybe the other side. There we go. All right, and then we'll just peel away the parts that we don't want. Of course, you know, again, you can fill up whole sheets of this. This is just to show you a bit of an example, but you can see there, obviously we've got these little ones which are going to go on pencils and so forth, and these ones that can go on books. And again, you can be as creative as you want. You know, again, personalize those for the child that you're making them for. You know, the sport, the music, all of those different things. This is, you know, your opportunity to be super creative and come up with any types of designs that are going to work best for you. I'm going to get back to it and print another sheet for the pencil ones, but I hope you got something out of that. If you do have any questions, pop them in the comments and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. I will be live again on Sunday, T for 10. So make sure you subscribe to my channel so you get notification of that as well. Looking at something maybe Valentine's, I haven't quite decided, and thinking of incorporating the foil tool. So if you've never done foiling, make sure you jump into that one on the weekend as well. Next week, and the Valentine's theme as well, carrying that on, Thursday, 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time. Natalie from Nat's Crafty Life, make sure you're following her on YouTube as well. She will be live and she will be doing a Valentine's Day project. As always, thank you so much for joining us. Have a fabulous week. I do apologize for the technical difficulties, and yeah, look forward to crafting with you real soon. Take care, guys. Bye.